Um, Three, two. We are here with UAPB Chancellor Anthony Graham. And Chancellor Graham, thank you so much for taking the opportunity to talk with me and talk with the readers of the Pine Bluff Commercial. Just tell me about the first month here in Pine Bluff and what have you noticed?
Yeah, the first month has been amazing. I have learned a great deal about the university. I've learned a great deal about the community. The passion and love that people have for this institution and for this community is unparalleled. I'm learning a great deal about the history of the community. I'm learning a great deal about the value add that the institution has to this community and the value add that the community has to the institution. So, great people. I'm truly enjoying myself, learning a great deal. That's been the aim of these first 30 days as I meet with people across campus and people in the community. I tell them that I am the student, you're the teacher. I want to be in the listening and learning mode as much as I possibly can. I intentionally came here with no preconceived notions, no assumptions. I wanted to learn, I wanted to listen, and then begin to take what we hear. And I want to emphasize the pronoun we. It's not about what I hear, it's what we hear, and begin to shape direction predicated upon what we're learning.
You mentioned value add. Can you explain that?
Absolutely. So when you talk about the value add of this institution, looking at the economic impact that this institution brings, not only to this community, but to this region and this state, UNCF estimates that we have over $100 million economic impact in this region. So, and beyond that, the individuals whom we graduate from this institution, the individuals who work at this institution, faculty, staff, administrators, and what they bring to this community, and then what the individuals in this community bring to this institution, whether it's Habitat for Humanity, Goodwill, the list goes on and on and on. There's value add all around in what happens here. My job, as I see it, is to help coordinate so that there's a more compelling story based on impact data for us to tell as an institution and as a region.
Speaking of the statewide and probably the nationwide appeal of UAPB, what mechanisms do you have in mind of helping this university grow?
Absolutely. So there are a number of things to consider when we talk about growth opportunities. Where I will start is in the academic space, our academic degree programs. Do we have the right blend of academic degree programs within our present inventory? And if not, what are those academic degree programs that yield real investment, return on investment that we need to bring to bear? Also thinking about how do we modernize the campus? We've got great facilities here, but there are some facilities that are outdated that need to be renovated or quite honestly torn down with new facilities erected. But we want to make certain that we are growing the footprint of the institution, not only in the physical sense of the immediate campus, but all across this region as well. So there are opportunities in that regard. And then growth with respect to student growth. We've got a great thing here. We've got an amazing product, if you will. How do we get more people exposed and immersed in what we have at the university in terms of our culture, in terms of our academic degree programs, in terms of the individuals who work here, the family feel that we have here? How do we get more people here to really benefit from what we have to offer?
And we know about a couple of the buildings, at least, that are undergoing some significant constructions here. Definitely the Student Engagement Center will definitely talk at length about that. But are you in a position to name which buildings you would like to see upgraded or replaced with new ones, since you kind of mentioned that?
No, I won't go into specifics. We need to continue to do some data analysis.
Okay.
We need to continue to do some auditing of what we currently have, space utilization, things of that nature, and get a feel for what makes the most sense for the university moving forward in a very intentional and deliberate way, creating a capital investment plan over the next 6 to 8 years, and then working against that plan.
Yeah. But we do know about the Student Engagement Center. For example, that's the first time that I've seen, I think that's Watson Boulevard being blocked off due to the construction. Like I said, I had to come around past the football stadium and back down the highway to get to this office here. But can you tell me how far the Student Engagement Center is from completion? I know that is an investment I don't think just the state or university made. That's an investment that the students helped make, if I remember correctly.
It's a fantastic facility, and I must give a nod to previous chancellor, Dr. Alexander. I must give a nod to our student affairs leadership, our academic affairs leadership, everyone who is invested in ensuring that that building is going to turn out to be what it's going to be, as well as the University of Arkansas system and the Board of Trustees for making an investment, an intentional investment in this particular facility. We are looking at a spring 2026 opening date. Obviously, I won't give you a specific date because it's construction and you never know what's going to happen between now and then. But the facility itself will be amazing. I am really impressed with the schematics for the building and what the intended purpose of the building is. When you begin to look at how we're focusing on student health and wellness, that is the primary focus of that building. And it's not just about student entertainment. Yes, there will be a bowling alley and things of that nature, game room, so the entertainment will be there. But we're also looking at our health and wellnesses offices being housed in that facility, our career services housed in that facility. So as soon as you walk into the building, to your left will be the career services and the graduate school, the graduate studies program. So we're investing in thinking about the students from a physiological standpoint, a psychological standpoint, emotional standpoint. It is an investment into student health and wellness, which has to be the focus of what we do at the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. If we're not investing in the students, and if we're not doing work centered on the students, then why are we here?
And having just explained those things about the Student Engagement Center, what uses then will you have for the LA Davis Student Union? Because that student union also has undergone some renovations, and that is a generational legacy, if you will, here
Absolutely.
at UAPB.
No, we're not going to abandon that building. We'll continue to do. The more space we have on the campus to invest in student development, student growth, student leadership, then the better off we are. So we'll continue to leverage that building in very intentional ways, investing in the students. So we're not going to sacrifice and abandon the facility.
Right. And we also know there's some interior construction going on in the ROTC building. We know what's been done to the outside of it, what people know as the Hazard Gymnasium.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what we're trying to do, not just in that area, but across the campus, is modernize our facilities, making certain that they are reflective of the 21st century and even thinking about the 22nd century. Never too early to start thinking about that. So it's not just that particular building, but it's all of our buildings. How are we ensuring that the technology, the seating, the infrastructure is what students are expecting in a 21st century four-year institution of higher learning? That's where we are, and that's where we're going.
You said you had no preconceived notions about UAPB when you took this job, but let's go back to when you applied for this job and when you interviewed. I think that was in the month of April or something
March.
like. Oh, it was in March. Thank you for correcting me on that. What notions did you have, and what led you to take the leap of faith, so to speak, and apply to become the next chancellor?
No, it's a great question. So my 18 years at North Carolina A&T State University, a land grant HBCU.
And I do want to expand on the land grant, but you
Absolutely.
go ahead.
Very informative experience and formative experience for me as a staff member who then became a faculty member and then moved into administration. That land grant experience, connecting the dots between teaching with what we do in the research, innovation, extension space and what we do in the engagement space, really informed how I go about thinking about higher education. So when the opportunity presented itself to perhaps lead one of the nation's great 1890s, I jumped at the opportunity because I know the impact that it had on me. I know the impact that it had on the community and the region of where I was in Greensboro, North Carolina. And understanding and learning and researching more about UAPB, I saw similar impact here. So having the opportunity to lead at a land grant HBCU, no way I would turn this opportunity down.
And why are you so passionate about land-grant universities?
Yeah, very passionate about it because we are really charged with ensuring that there's research, innovation, community engagement, all wrapped around in what we do in the classroom. It connects the dots of what you would like to see all institutions of higher learning do. There are institutions, unfortunately, where the focus is on abstract conceptual learning. The land grant institution is about applying what you've learned. In education, we call it critical consciousness. So when you look at what we do at our HBCUs, land grants across the nation, that critical consciousness, connecting the dots between the practical, the pragmatic, the theoretical, the research, and then uplifting, serving community, that is what the land grant legacy is all about. So I'm passionate about it, quite honestly, because that's how I grew up in Kinston, North Carolina. I am here because that community invested in me. And because of that connection between school, community, opportunities to be immersed and engage and explore and discover, all those things really produced what you see sitting before you. And that is a mirror image of what our HBCU land grant institutions do.
You were a student athlete in college, right?
That is correct.
And you played football,
That is
right?
correct.
And you played for the North Carolina Tar Heels?
That's correct.
All right, so you understand the value of Division I athletics, but let's talk about it from the standpoint of UAPB, small HBCU, and Division I FCS. I guess my general question is, what vision do you have to help enhance the athletic experience, first and foremost for the student athletes and then the fans here? And what message do you want sent to the entire nation, to the UAPB nation, about Division I athletics and how UAPB represents the university through that vehicle?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I will tell you two things. We will compete, and we will compete to win. That is the approach that I take to everything that I do. We're going to do it at a level of excellence, or we won't do it at all. So as we think about what it means for our student athletes, first of all, I always tell people that we can't forget that they are students first and then athletes. So we want to make certain that we're investing in them as students, just as we will with the rest of the students on the campus, ensuring that we are positioning them for success post-graduation in whatever direction they want to go. And then in terms of the athletic space, we want to make certain that they have what they need to compete at a high level and to win as they compete at a high level. So that will require thinking about some things differently. It will require thinking about facilities, modernizing what we have to offer, making certain that we're being equitable in our approach. What we do for our men, we must do for our women. What we do for our women, we must do for our men. So we don't want to make certain that we're disenfranchising any particular group of that nature. But we want to make certain that we are providing opportunities for our student athletes to grow as young people. I tell people all the time, playing sports for as long as I did, it is the best way for you to start really applying your critical thinking skills, your problem solving skills, your collaboration skills, your communication skills, your leadership skills in real time. As a former wide receiver, I tell people all the time, that offensive coordinator can draw up the best play on paper, but you're going to stand across from a defensive back who might be a little bit better than you. And that play is not going to work with that DB standing in your face. So how do you think in the moment, critically, so that you can run that route, get that play executed at an optimal level to give your team the best opportunity to succeed? That is what athletics brings to the campus community. It helps our student athletes become real-time problem solvers, critical thinkers, who should then take those skills and transfer them into the classroom, into the community, and post-graduation once they've left the university.
Right. And as it relates to the HBCU experience, I mean, we know what the UAPB M4 band has done, Marching Musical Machine of the Mid-South. As far as the HBCU experience, I guess, overall, not just athletically, but overall, how do you communicate that to, say, the average Arkansan who may have heard about UAPB in passing, but we talked about it being the land grant HBCU of Arkansas? How do you communicate that to the average Arkansan in relation to its entire impact on Arkansas and the nation, especially even in a location where still you have a lot of fans who defer to Razorback pride rather than Golden Lion pride?
I want to make sure I'm understanding your question. You're talking about the marching band specifically, or?
No. Oh, no. The marching band just came to mind,
Gotcha,
you know,
gotcha.
as representatives of the university, but no, from a university standpoint, yeah.
Yeah, you know, the way we communicate our value add is making certain that we're telling our story, particularly around our quantitative outcomes. Making certain that people understand economic impact, yes, that people understand what our enrollment rates are, our retention rates, our 4-year graduation rates, and I intentionally emphasize 4-year graduation rates. We want to make certain that people understand that you enter here with the idea of leaving in 4 years or less, no more. Because at that point, you're talking about issues of affordability. And as the leader of the institution, I'm always wanting us to think about access, affordability, and what that means post-graduation. So it is about using our quantitative data to tell a story. And the most important data point, I believe, was the return on investment. If I spend 4 years on your campus, earning a degree in discipline X, when I leave this institution 5 years from now, how can I expect that degree to have some type of economic impact on who I am, but also have some impact on social mobility? So the driver for us is social and economic mobility. That is what we, in terms of a vision for this institution, what we want. We want UAPB to be the preeminent 1890 land grant institution in the nation. When I talk about preeminence, I'm talking about student success outcomes that are nationally recognized. I'm talking about academic excellence that's nationally recognized. I'm talking about research, innovation, extension that's nationally recognized. I'm talking about return on investment that's nationally recognized. When we do our work well, this university is a ladder. That's the metaphor I use. We're a ladder. Students come in at one rung, and our job is to position them for another rung. Once they have left us, they should be ascending. So they start here, and they can rise anywhere. But here's the catch. As they're going up that ladder, rung by rung, they're obligated to reach back and help someone else who start here to rise up that ladder as well.
I was just going to ask, what is your message to the alumni?
That's it. When you leave this institution in terms of being a student, you don't leave this institution with respect to your heart, your time, your talent, your treasure, your testimony. All of what our alumni have to offer by way of their financial resources is critically important. Their emotional connectivity to the institution by mentoring students, coming back, whether it's having lunch with them, spending time during homecoming. But I like to tell the alumni, we need you beyond homecoming. You know, if you are working in a Fortune 500 or whatever the company or organization might be, are you advocating for UAPB in your spaces so that we can get students internships, so that we can get students undergraduate research opportunities, study away, study abroad? Are you being a productive advocate for us? And are you returning to the campus to serve by investing in the student population? That's the message for our alumni.
Anything else you'd like to share?
No, you know, what I would say is, and I've said this to my cabinet on multiple occasions, UAPB is a hidden gem, and I hate that phrase. No gem should ever be hidden. It is our job to make certain that people know that we're not only here, but we're having significant impact on the lives of people who enter the portals and leave this institution, equally as much as we're having an impact on the individuals who work on this campus. I tell people all the time, this is an institution of higher learning. It's not only for the students, but also for the individuals who step foot on the campus, faculty, staff, administrators, community partners. We are always in the modality of learning, evolving, and growing as a collective. And when we do that well, this institution will continue to rise to that state of preeminence.